we go from one cliffhanger to another. Kind of makes sense considering we only have 10 episodes to this series, but it kind of pisses me off. I myself like to have a good ending in anime or an anime episode, and cliffhangers, well, I don't have much patience sometimes, so waiting for the next episode to figure out what's gonna happen is a strenuous task for me. Alright, on to the episode. So we have episode 7 of Triage X. From the cliffhanger we had last week, we had someone firing a bullet at Mikoto and Arashi riding back on her bike. We find out the person riding the bike was Inu Naki, one of the old surgeons from Ample Zero of the Doctor's Triage whole thing, and he was also Arashi's mentor. He was the one who taught him how to fight in the dark, like I mentioned in the last review, and he taught him everything pretty much there is to be about killing and fighting these black labels and lesions. And he goes, to apologize for scaring you, Mikoto, by firing bullets at you, I'm going to give you some information. Just, how is that? That's not even a real apology, but hey, that's anime for you. Alright, so he gives us, he reveals what the whole idol, murder, capture, hostage thing was distracting the police and the Triage Black Label thing from. There was Platinum Lily, the drug, the narcotic drug that really is sought after in this. A huge shipment just came in and everything, and the son of the guy who runs the corporation, this guy is Tobashiro Kyoji, and this guy's a creep. A fucking creep. Like, seriously. He creeps me the fuck out. We first see him cheering over a pole dancer he bought. Yes, he bought for himself. Because they can do that in the Mafia or whatever drug cartel thing. But he already displays a misuse of power and all that, and you could tell he's evil by the way he has a devilish grin on his face after his shirt comes off and you see a dragon tattoo on his back. He's evil, to say the least, and he needs a Black Label right now. Kill that bastard. Alright, moving further along in the episode, we have the sword-slicing nurse and the really, powerful Hitsugi nurse. Her name's Hitsugi, and she's the one that wears the mask and beats down people with guns, like the minigun, or pretty much pounds their face in. We had a brutal beat down on her. These two redhead girls, we're first shown one of them and everything, and she refers to Hitsugi as senpai, so I'm wondering maybe Hitsugi knew her at one point or another. But she refers to her as senpai and everything, kind of wears a similar mask, and they're fighting fist to fist, well, metal fist to metal fist. Whoa. And just as Hitsugi's about to kill this girl and everything, almost a twin shows up, and pretty much, I think it's RKO, maybe? Or just grabs and flips over and smashes. That's unfair to her. And then Hitsugi takes part in a brutal beatdown on her. Although she doesn't get much screen time, I'm a fan of Hitsugi because she's awesome. She's one fucking badass nurse. But we also get introduced. We get introduced to the two girls, and then there's a third guy called D, and another one who's... There's another guy who's fighting the sword-happy nurse who can cut through supply crates, the big crates on boats and everything. Yes, that's my description of them. But she can slice through them. So we have a guy fighting them, and through that guy, he reveals that the mark we saw on Siren's arm last week was that of a society called Syringe. That's the main like rival thing, and Siren was a part of it, along with that creep who shot the one chick in the face with an arrow. Yeah. But we have it's called the Syringe Society and everything, and it's made up from everyone on that boat. They don't delve too far into it, and then later on, the sword chick saves Hitsugi, well, sort of saves. She cuts the floor beneath her, and then the next one and everything, and they go into the water. Immediately after saving her, Hitsugi has to be taken in for surgery. Her heart and lungs have stopped all function because they were in the ocean and everything, but the nurse goes in there to take care of her. Arashi, he's torn, emotionally and physically torn on what to do. He wants to go out there, but he knows it'd be reckless if he does. And this is where they differ from classic anime cliches, because normal anime main characters would rush out of there, take all of them on, beat them with friend power, and all that boring ass shonen or even just regular cliches. Instead, Arashi, the guy who never complains, the guy who never shows too much emotion, the always brutally honest guy, actually starts whining. Not purposefully whining, but he's emotionally, physically, and just mentally torn on what to do. And that shows a lot about his care for his comrades. He owes them all for being there for him. He cares for them truly from the depths of his heart. And that says a lot for him. So we get development for him. Although minimal, we still get a little bit of development for him. And then we have Mikoto, who goes, I've never seen you complain before, but someone as brutally honest as you, if they can find someone to really owe their life to and complain about, that says a lot. And then afterwards, they go to the doctor, the head honcho of the Triage thing. We finally get backstory on this guy. He remained pretty much a mystery in the manga or in the anime. Just no real backstory on him except that he's the head honcho and he saved Arashi's life by using his son's body parts and stitching them and all that onto Arashi. It turns out the doctor was a doctor for a group of mercenaries a few years back and everything. And he traveled the world, and he helped out a lot of people, and he came across this weird drug. A weird village at first. This village was said to have villagers that if they lost their arm during a war or something, they were replaced by by a dead person's own limb and everything. Which is definitely strange. So the doctor goes and investigates. Turns out, when they're doing the transplant, they're given a black liquid, and once they drink that black liquid, they only receive the red liquid after they survive the transplant. And the doctor researches these liquids, and I don't know how, because it said only the chosen few are able to receive these. He researches both liquids, and it turns out the black liquid's a virus, a very deadly virus. We find out later in the anime, later in the anime episode, it's lethal to mankind's very existence. It corrodes the brain, but it also activates cells and increases the regeneration like tenfold. So it's a powerful virus. And then the red liquid is the vaccine. It kills it off instantly and they can never get infected by it again. And the doctor realizes after studying this, he creates the very first Ample Zero and everything, which include Inu Naki, the Ron and him and several other scientists. they researched it, tried to see if it had real-world modern uses and all that, but they scrapped it because it could cause humanity's downfall with the sheer power this disease had. And they were gonna scrap all of it. All of it. Then something happened. The International Medical Society or thing bombing, where Arashi and the doctor's son were at, that happened, and the doctor, as he revealed, used the very last sample they had of that virus on Arashi after stitching limbs on and all that. The doctor said he's not making excuses. He did it for his own personal gain and all that, and used that virus on Arashi. He expected punishment from Arashi or some form of hate maybe, but instead Arashi did something that just really surprised everyone, including me. He goes, "I'm not gonna blame you. I like where my life is now. I have friends that'll take care of me. I have people I care about. I'm perfectly happy with my life as it is." I don't know why that's surprising as much as it shouldn't be super surprising considering how Arashi is so far, but it was surprising, to say the least. And then we have that final cliffhanger in this episode. Hitsugi, after the operation to get her heart and all that restarted, we see Hitsugi awaken. And it's not a typical awaken because she is like freaking the fuck out. She grabs like the bar or something and crushes it with her strength. You hear a bunch of crashing sounds and all that and breaking metal sounds. I don't know how that sounds, but then the next scene, you see her walking down the hallway right after an operation. Where the hell is she going? Was she somehow manipulated? Is she somehow manipulated by Syringe, or is she going to get revenge, or there's just so many questions in my mind. I never thought Triage X would turn out as good as it was in this anime and everything. They're really, even if they're going for an anime-only ending, I'm honestly surprised about this. This episode, it did seem a little rushed from the fast-paced battles and then the cutscenes between and everything, but I can live with that the way this was all presented. Like, I just have a lot of questions, and this episode was pretty awesome. Well, that should be it for this review. I'll see you guys in the next video. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe if you enjoyed, and if you want more reviews, do the same thing.